From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another podcast with Conversation with Trent and Friends. We got a good one tonight. Got a real good one tonight. Welcome to the B2G Unity TV. That's Butterfly Evolution and Taylor Kennedy Media combined for better TV. For Shann, Coach Dee, and myself. Good stuff. We got a good one tonight, man. Real good one tonight. We got the good brother Link Green coming in. The KryptoKhemist coming in to talk about Web 2, the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, and cryptocurrency and all the good stuff, blockchain. Let's bring the ladies in real quick. How you doing tonight?
Hey.
Happy
Sunday.
Sunday. You sound like you're under the weather, lady.
Yeah, it's just not 100%, but but I'm sure I will be fine. And I think some Theraflu can't hopefully knock out within a dose or two.
Gotcha. Well, we got the good brother Link Green and talking about the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, blockchain. He's actually very extensive as a array of things he's actually done here. He's a blockchain expert specializing in business, solution implementation, the metaverse, NFTs, and teaching blockchain. And I love this, teaching blockchain to undeserved communities. Love it. So we're going to bring the good brother in and we're going to get this thing started real quick. Brother Link.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, brother? Can you hear us?
We can't hear him.
You got to check your mic, brother.
How about now?
Yeah.
There you go. Good stuff.
All right. My bad, guys.
Good stuff.
I didn't want to interrupt the conversation.
Oh, it's all good. Brother Link. This is Shannon.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Hey,
everyone
nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
Everyone calls Shannon. This is Coach Dee.
Coach Dee.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right.
So, brother, let's talk about this for a minute. Let's talk about the difference. I wanted to know the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, first of all.
Okay. So if you all remember the early internet, and we'll call that Web 1, you remember that it was just a bunch of static pages. You could pretty much read them. It was like, newspapers or newsletters, articles, stuff like that. Right. And the only people that could really do anything with the internet were the web developers. Then you got to Web 2, which is just a new iteration, right? And that was when we got email and we got, my personal favorite. I was in high school, MySpace and Black Planet. You were the programmer now. You just copy code and manipulate it to customize your page, right? And so that was a big evolution for us, but we didn't recognize it. And during that evolution, there was an opportunity for a lot of people to make a lot of money, and many people missed out on that. With companies like Internet Explorer, Yahoo, etc., Microsoft even coming out and allowing for people to buy stock in those companies at a very low price in comparison to now, right? Mm-hmm. And so here we are in the next iteration, which is Web 3 or Web 3.0, and that is where we are able to create entire identities on top of these web platforms, right? We're able to enter virtual worlds and conduct commerce and conduct relationships and business meetings, etc. That is huge if we look at what we just started with, which was Web 1, and then even Web 2. And so with Web 3, I think the first indication of us shifting to Web 3 was, Zoom and the web camera and even the smartphones were indications of this. And so that's where we are now. And it is underpinned by something called blockchain technology, which is not being spoken about. And I think that's why it's really important to have this conversation.
Exactly. And I got to be honest, man. When Brother Ramiel reached out to me, he said he wanted me to have you on and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I did some research on that. And honestly, the reason why I wanted to talk to you and link with you is I'm actually trying to move some NFTs and get into the NFT game.
Okay, yeah.
So I started reading up on this. I was completely ignorant to this entire system.
Right.
So I was like, wow, this is deep. So it's going to be a great conversation. But what really struck me on our first conversation when we first talked, you mentioned Kenya. Can you explain to the folks what you did over in Kenya?
I actually I wasn't in Kenya. I was boots on the ground here in the States, but in about 2000 and I want to say 15, I took over as director of PR at a small. It was a small nonprofit, but the nonprofit was actually helping farmers in Kenya who were getting their land taken from them by foreigners. Basically, the government was allowing preference to the foreigners, and so we helped them as foreigners, as Americans, to purchase the land back, and in return, they would basically sell their crops, and we would get a percentage of their crops, right, for our nonprofit. Right. And so when the government realized what we were doing, which we were using PayPal for all of the transactions, the government blocked it. And so a gentleman that was in our, that worked with us, he introduced the idea of cryptocurrency. Now, I had used cryptocurrency a little bit in college, doing college stuff. And so I was familiar with cryptocurrency to a degree, but it had a bad reputation. Right. So I was the first one to jump on it, and I learned it, and it was very intuitive. It was, when you think about the technology, and I'll explain it a little later, it was a replica of what we had done in our, ancient cultures, for history, right? Throughout history, I should say. It was just the replication of every piece of information, every idea, everything that happened over and over again to keep it in chronological order. So I understood that really easily, and I taught everyone. That's where I first began teaching blockchain technology, but just really teaching them how to open wallets and get cryptocurrency. From there, we were able to keep our transactions completely anonymous. We were able to continue helping those Kenyan farmers, and to this day we now have, or I'm not with the nonprofit anymore, but the nonprofit now has a headquarters in Kenya, or I should say a remote office in Kenya, and that was from 2015. And
my question, a lot of folks are kind of leery. When I brought the topic up of cryptocurrency and whatnot, I had a very extensive conversation with a friend of mine who was kind of leery about the stabilization of cryptocurrency. Can you explain that? Is it,
what you're seeing in the news right now is that there are a lot of centralized companies or centralized exchanges, meaning that they're owned by one entity, one group, one person, what have you, right, that are claiming that they have US dollar reserves. And there was a Senate hearing, I believe it was 2021. There was a Senate hearing where the Senate basically made these different CEOs and CFOs prove that they had reserves, or so we thought. And what they were saying was, all right, for every digital dollar, because there's a cryptocurrency called USDC, and there's also a cryptocurrency called USDT. And so they were basically claiming that one of those currencies, which are supposed to be one-to-one with the dollar, were all backed by real dollars that they had. But we found out that they were lying about those things. And so, that's the risk with those centralized exchanges, is that you don't really know that they have what they say they have. And that's why there is, this fear of whether or not these companies were lying.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Shannon?
So first I want to say, hey, Brendan, thanks for joining us and tuning in tonight.
What's going on, nephew?
I did want to ask you, because I thought I was on your website, and your website is really nice, very informative. So nicely done. But tell us about the KryptoKhemist title, how you came up with that.
Oh, okay. I'm a nerd. I've always liked science. I've always liked not really math. I wasn't really good at math, but I taught myself to be good at math. And what I learned was that the best way for me to absorb information was for it to be broken down into the smallest components. And when I teach others, the best way to teach them is to, for things to be broken down into its smallest components before we move on.
Okay.
And so I think of, the elements and molecules and molecular structures and atoms, etc.
Gotcha.
And so that's how I've always taught. And so I was teaching someone and they said, something like, bro, you're like a chemist with this. And it stuck, it stuck. And so
this cat's definitely catchy.
Yeah, so at first it was Link Green the Chemist, and it's still, I do music, so it's under Link Green the Chemist.
Oh, okay.
What I was known as. And then when I got into crypto, everybody was like, oh, here's the chemist, the crypto chemist. So it's Link Green the Crypto Chemist.
Gotcha. Okay. No, I found that very interesting because I saw part of your a little bit of your bio about you saying that you found out you were on the kind of the spectrum, the autism spectrum as an adult.
Yes.
So how did you what was it that what were you experiencing or that really brought that awareness to you? And then how did you, once you became aware of that, did that change your learning pattern or anything?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. You know what? I thank you for that question. No one has ever caught that or picked that up. And that means a lot to me for a few reasons. But I found out in the military, I was going through I just got stationed at Fort Sam Houston, and I was going through in processing, and they were asking me about family history, and my little brother has Asperger's, and so the tech, it was actually a behavioral health tech. I did this in the Army as well, but he said, well, usually when siblings have Asperger's or autism, then the other siblings show signs, and even sometimes the parents. And he says, do you want to be screened for it? I'm like, yeah, sure, and so a few months later, I was screened for it, etc., and I found out that I was on the spectrum. And so from then on, I learned that I don't learn well through aggression. And I was in the military, and you're taught with pure aggression in the military, right? And I did very well in the military somehow, but I didn't like that. And so when I got out, I would always tell people, I would start with, hey, I don't want to make an excuse because, but can you slow down? I'm a bit on the spectrum. And I realized that people would really slow down, oh, snap, okay. And learning how, once again, breaking things down into the smaller components really helped me. And so I think that's how learning that I was autistic allowed me to realize how I actually learn and can receive information.
Hey, okay. Well, thank you. And thank you for your service. I was in the Army. I did my AIT at Fort Sam. And then
okay. All right.
Yeah.
68, what was it, 68 series?
No, but back then it was 92 Bravo, so I was a medical.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then I think they when they redid the.
Yes, they redid everything.
I think it was 91 Kilo or something when I left.
Yeah. Everything.
So I was there, and then I spent some time up at Fort Hood and Killeen at
okay. Well, I never been to Hood, but okay,
you ain't missing nothing.
I know. We had a couple of comments in there. Then we're going to get to.
It's not comments. It's every people welcoming. So hi, Mark. Hi, Alvin. Hi, Wendy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
What's going on? Let's get down to the get down real quick.
All right.
How do we get paid in a blockchain game?
Well, before we do that, I think it's best if we talk about breaking stuff down.
Right to the money, man.
I mean, I get that, but I think people need to also understand, especially for me and maybe some other folks, exactly what is meant by cryptocurrency and really, and then how do you make money from that?
Gotcha. Well, first off, I want to underpin cryptocurrency with something called blockchain technology. Okay. There is no cryptocurrency without blockchain technology. There are digital currencies without blockchain technology, but no cryptocurrency. You'll understand why in a minute. So what the blockchain is basically a means by which a digital ledger, which acts as a means by which to record transactions in a way to where it cannot be changed, right? Those transactions can never be changed. You still use the same websites, you still, open up the same types of accounts, etc. But this only in this instance, those websites are connected to the blockchain. And instead of a profile or an account, right, you open what's called a wallet where all of your information is stored.
Right. Almost like an Apple wallet, right?
Like an Apple wallet, absolutely. But except instead of just digital money in that wallet, all of your digital items, your files, your pictures, your videos are all stored in that wallet. Exactly. And so this allows for encryption, hence the term crypto, right? This allows for encryption in that you are the only one who can log into that wallet and who is granted access to that wallet. And all of this is done through a series of different mechanisms, and they have words and what are called recovery phrases and stuff like that. You don't really need to get into.
Yeah, I did that thing on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole mask and all that stuff, the encryption and all that. I have one. I have no idea how to use it.
Yeah, I would say don't use Facebook's. I'm telling you right now, and I don't care about the backlash. Facebook is a centralized entity. It's centralized, which means that you don't really own that information or that data. They own it, and they're operating under the guise, I should say, of information, but it's not that.
I got you.
So I don't even know how it works. I need to go through it and look at it.
Yeah, all I did was create a profile and left it alone after they went through this whole rigmarole. I'm like, man, I'm not leave that alone.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm reading the comments, but thank you for having that foresight. Don't mess with anything centralized. Like, don't mess with it. We see that with FTX, the exchange that went down. That was owned by one central authority, and yeah.
Brother Ramiel is on too tonight. He said, greetings. One of the things I hope hits home with this conversation is the need for those of African and Moorish descent to start to position themselves and not be left as we have been historically. Absolutely. What up, Rob? Brendan said he was invested in, is that Dogecoin or Dogecoin?
Dogecoin.
And Ethereum?
And Ethereum, yes, correct.
Yeah, he said, what are some crypto that you may think are good to invest in, was his question.
I do not want to give financial advice on this show, but what I will say is look for the cryptocurrencies that have a good decentralized network. They are, encrypted very well. They have a lot of security with them. They have very good partnerships. They have a lot of good use cases. You want to look at high market caps, things like that. But as far as the projects, those are the things that you want to focus on the most. Are these projects for these cryptocurrencies? Because all these are basically, I don't want to call them stock, but it's like ownership in a tech company. So look for the coins that have really good models and that you think could help a lot of people. Those are going to be the coins that are going to do the best, I believe.
Okay. Brother Ross said, we tend to wait until the aftermath of everything and meet new things that are new with unwarranted caution, and then we do nothing. And he also said, Link is being modest. He is one of the most sought after men in this space. He has worked with the largest corporations.
Exactly.
He says, I advise
I don't want to call him out.
Sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you. He says, I advise everyone to listen and set up a private conversation with them. So.
Wow. Thank you for that, Ron. I'm not, I'm not necessarily being modest. I'm not here to talk about me. I see something that is happening.
It is about you, bro. So
I understand. I see something that is happening that is going to, hurt a lot of people. It's going not just hurt a lot of people. It's going to ruin a lot of people. I'm not exaggerating. I can prove it to you all. The United States has shifted to digital currency quietly, and those who are not prepared will be subject to whatever regulations or whatever requirements that the United States has. And we know that these governments don't necessarily have the best interests of the people in mind all of the time. And so what I'm striving to do is empower people, because they don't know the difference between centralized and decentralized cryptocurrencies. And
that was my next question.
They will go to the centralized cryptocurrencies unwillingly, right? Unknowingly, I should say. And they will pay the consequences for that. And so, yes, I have worked with CoinDesk. I was the operations manager over Desk Token and the face of that token, which is their social token. I specialize in social tokens in smart cities. I've done a lot. I've worked with the city of Atlanta. I've worked with the city of Columbus, Ohio, etc. But what I'm trying to do right now is just push this information to the people. So if your question is the difference between decentralized and centralized cryptocurrencies, a decentralized cryptocurrency is owned by the people, right? So everyone who is on that network has what's called a miner, right, or a node, which is just a special computer that processes transactions, validates transactions on the blockchain. And so what happens is every time there is a transaction, that transaction is logged, the information, the wallet address of that person, which is basically a string of different numbers and letters, right? The time that the transaction occurred, where the transaction occurred, what the transaction was. It could have been you loading an NFT onto the blockchain, or it could have been you buying cryptocurrency, because all cryptocurrency is, it's just code. It's just digital. It's code. So these are, again, digital items that are put onto the blockchain. And so once that happens, that block of information is stored, and then the next transaction that happens and is validated on these computers goes right after that. Right. So if we're all on the same network, we all have our computers. I mean, our I should say miners, and someone processes a transaction. We all have to agree that that transaction has occurred. And not necessarily us, but our computer is processing the transaction and saying, okay, yes, this is correct. Does that make sense?
So it's like a validation process. Group.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, the validation process. No different than, if we all see something happen on Facebook or something, on IG, we all see that this person has this many likes, right? But let's just say that it requires all of our computers, some special code in all of our computers, to confirm that that person has that many likes before the information about those likes can be recorded onto this digital ledger.
Gotcha. And so the centralized version of that?
Centralized is still blockchain technology in a lot of, well, it is still blockchain technology, except there is only one entity that is watching those transactions, and their computer, their miner is the only miner that, well, not all the time, not necessarily, but their network, they are the ones on their network, and it's closed, and no one can see those transactions except for them, the people that they give.
Kind of like the Illuminati of the digital currency world.
She said, the Illuminati of the digital currency. Hey, there is a such thing as crypto cartels. There is a such thing as crypto cartels, and that's what we're seeing. So great point.
So back to Trent's, I think original question that he drove right into was, how do you get the money? How are you making money?
There are so many different ways to make money in blockchain technology. It's not even funny. The number one thing that I tell people is there's a such thing as faucets. They're called faucets, and you can Google like the best crypto faucets of 2022, and that's FAUCETS, right? And so what they do is they allow you to use your computer bandwidth to basically share that bandwidth with these different networks, and in exchange, they will give you, small amounts of cryptocurrency. There's also something called staking that you can look into, where it's basically a savings account on steroids. If you look at your savings account at your banks, you're probably getting what, 0.0002%. I don't know, something ridiculous. It's nothing, right? You can get more just picking up coins on the street, right? And so with crypto, though, there's something called proof of stake, where you can take your money and you can put it into a staking mechanism, right? And basically what a staking mechanism is, a crypto account where you put your money in that crypto account, and they pay you to hold your money there because you are providing liquidity to their network, right? So they're paying you for that. And that is something that's a what do you call it? That is a strategy that we call decentralized finance. And this is you being your own bank, loaning money, getting paid for transaction fees, etc.
So let's talk about the inner cities that you're actually working with. I'm sure you've taught classes to the undeserved areas and all that stuff. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so we have a program called Stop Squad. It's Stars in Training, Obtaining Power, and we teach young boys from the ages of 10 to 25 how to, start their careers in Web3, blockchain technology, animation, anything basically that's tech, right? Anything that is STEM, or what they're calling now stream, which is adding, I believe, rendering or reading. I can't remember, but there's a term now called stream, which basically is all encompassing, right? And so we're getting them these careers, or we're helping them to get these careers, I should say, in these different industries. And you have children who can graduate high school and walk into a career without a college degree, making six figures because they have a skill that only 3% of the world has right now, according to the last estimate. And so this is very empowering, and this is where we began to transfer generational wealth. And we see a great transfer of wealth because, you know, these older institutions are not as artistic and not as creative as these younger generation, right? And so that's what we help them to explore.
Good stuff, real good stuff, real good stuff. Coach D, you had anything?
Sir, I've had a crypto wallet since 2009, so I'm already there with them.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm trying to get everybody, as many people as possible.
That's what I'm talking. That's the networking at its finest. Good stuff.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So you hear a lot of times about people who get scammed, right?
Yes.
So what are some ways that folks who are looking to get into cryptocurrency and all of this, what are some things that they should look for so that they don't get scammed?
Well, let me just say this. This is the world wide web, right? This is not the statewide web, the nationwide web. This is the world wide web. So you have a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life who are accessing this platform, right? And so we have to remember, number one, that we can't just do this all on the internet. We can't just do this by watching YouTube videos and joining paid groups and stuff like that. Like, we got to really get out there and start meeting people. So I always say, like, my motto is IRL, which means in real life. Get out there and meet people and get to know about them. And then, you know, people who are already in crypto, I should say, look for those groups in your area and learn from people who have been doing this for, I would say that they've been doing it for more than a year. And I know that in crypto, we say 1 month is the equivalent to 6 months in any other industry, which is true. But, you know, there are a lot of things that even veterans get caught up with in the crypto world, right? So you want to make sure that they've at least been in it for a year. That gives you a nice time frame to go through some stuff, right? And so see what they're doing. Read as much as you can about this stuff, and do not read, you know, the mainstream internet about this stuff. Like, read in different groups, in different forums, Reddit, etc. What are people really experiencing with cryptocurrency? And, you know, from there, start with a little bit. Get into, there are a lot of blockchain platforms that you can open a wallet with, and you don't even have to pay anything. You can just open a wallet and explore it and see how it looks. I would like to give a shout out to Quid. I think it's quid.com, QUIDD.com. This is a great platform for newbies to get on there and see. This is with NFTs, and they have their own currency. Get on there and see how these types of marketplaces work. And from there, what else could I say? Security. Get hardware wallets. Hardware wallets are physical cryptocurrency wallets. These hardware wallets, even if you're scared of this stuff, they come with so much information and so many tutorials that I can almost guarantee that you will get it, no matter your age, no matter your level of experience with tech. But definitely get a hardware wallet to store your tokens long term.
Let's talk about the digital real estate boom. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So, digital real estate is essentially you're all of your children, or you know children who play video games, or you might play video games, right? And in these video games, you're in different worlds. And when you play them online, let's say that you're playing a game like Call of Duty or something like that, and you know, one team has this fort, and if you come over to that fort, you know, they'll shoot you, right? Well, in digital real estate, you're basically buying these plots of land in these games, in these metaverses or games, where if you come onto that land, let's say we're not playing Call of Duty, let's say we're playing some sort of you know, what is it called, quest game, and you want to come onto that land to go towards your path where you have to go in the game, but I own that land, right? I paid for that. You can digital with you know, these wallets and ownership proof, I can own that land. So
this is digital monopoly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Thank you.
It's digital monopoly.
I was afraid I was like under explaining. Yes, exactly. So when you come on my collect 200 pass, go. I'm telling you. So if you come on my land, you got it. Like, I got to charge you, and that's all it is. Thank you for that. I'm going to use that. And I'm going to quote you. I promise. But it's digital monopoly, guys. And so, but what they're doing though is they're taking it a step further, and they are actually digitizing. Like we already have Google Maps, right? We already have like the satellite view. So they're taking these plots of land in Google Maps and they're selling them. There's a company called Superworld.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's superworld.com. I'll get it for you all in a minute. But you can buy real plots of land in the metaverse. And so people are like, well, what do I want to do with that? Why would I have that? Well, they're going to start building virtual reality. They're going to start building virtual worlds in in these metaverses. So if I go to a physical location and they're having a party, hey, we're going to cast that same party in the metaverse, right? This is an example. I'm not saying this does happen, but let's just say, right? We're going to cast that same party. So you can see me in the physical dancing. And if I have on the headset, I can see you in the virtual dancing. Might be weird, but that's what's happening, right? That's what's happening. Right. And no matter how you feel about it, right? Some people are like, this is creepy. This is weird. Hey, I'm not going to say I don't agree, right? But a lot of people are paying a lot of money for it. And when I say a lot, I mean trillions, not even billions, trillions. The metaverse industry is set to be worth $460 billion by Bloomberg by 2020.
From dating to relationship. From dating to relationship.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead. You
What
got it.
happened?
I don't know.
That was me. Go ahead. That was me.
Okay. All right. So the metaverse is. What's the last thing you guys heard? I apologize.
We were talking.
Bloomberg.
Okay. So
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg. Yeah, I'll jump right in. I'm cool with it. Bloomberg is projecting the metaverse to be worth 400.
I think his feed is kind of lagging.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Well, we're going to take a real quick break. We'll be right back with Brother Link on the other side of the break, folks.
Thanks for tuning into Conversations with Trent. We will be right back with more conversation after these commercial breaks.
Check out the creative work of the author Trent Williams of www.taylorkennedymedia.com. Chapter of the Delta gives us a peek at his life-changing events. And if that's not enough, Trent tells you more about his brothers and his life through memoirs in his book, The Four Horsemen. His blogs and daily stimulating quotes are published in his book, Life's Little Addiction. And when you have a need of some human coaching of life and relationships, take a look at Conversations with Trent, Volume 1 and 2, and Conversations with Trent, Limited Edition. You will find his works available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all online book retailers.
Welcome back to Conversations with Trent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're online and want to be a part of tonight's topic, you can do that by dialing 347-324-5327. Press the number 1 to get into the queue so that your voice can be added to tonight's conversation. Now, let's get back to the show.
for those overloaded cookies. tabsedivacreation.com. Also, all the literary works and the paraphernalia from some Call Me Trentline, all that good stuff. TaylorKennedyMedia.com over at the TK Shop. Good stuff. We're back with Brother Link. Brother Link. Shannon actually had to get away because she's still a little under the weather, so she needs to go and nurse that day.
I hope she
So
feels better.
that's good. Let's go back. Let's get back into this tokens, the social tokens and the smart cities. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes. So social tokens are basically tokens that allow people to monetize their social influence. So if I am a big social media influencer, and this is why we strive to tell social media influencers that as much money as they're making, they're losing a lot, because you can actually monetize that social influence by paying people to interact with you, or them paying you to interact with them. Like, there's an entire economy that can be created through your social influence. And so the more that people pay you, right, for your interaction, for your ideas, for your time, for whatever the case may be, you can use those tokens, to vote on things, and to if you're in let's say an organization or on a platform where that social token powers that platform, you now have more influence over that platform. And so we see this with different networks that use tokens to power those networks. They use tokens to reward their users. Those tokens can be used to purchase experiences, items, merchandise, etc. And so there's this economy that's happening between everyone.
Exactly. Now, was very important. What I wanted to really get into was NFTs.
Yes, non-fungible tokens.
Exactly. Now let's just say I have a ton of quotes over the years, say like a 10-year span, and these things are very popular. How would I turn it into an NFT?
So quotes that you have written or
over the years, correct?
Okay, over the years.
How do I turn it into a digital NFT?
Well, I mean, there are several different ways. You can make a book of all of your quotes, a digital book of all of your quotes, and make that into an NFT. You can make art and put the quotes, embed the quotes into the art and make those into NFTs. You can do videos where, the motivational videos that are expanding on your different quotes and why you said this quote and what you meant, and giving examples, etc. Right? People listen to motivational music or motivational videos every day, right? And so you can make those into NFTs. There are so many different ways that you can turn anything that you have. If you create physical items, if you create clothing, etc., you can take pictures of those clothing items and put those onto the blockchain as NFTs. And when you sell that clothing item, you can also sell the NFT, right? And so let's say that you make a very limited amount of those clothing items, right? Let's say you only make 1,000 and you get really, really popular. Well, every person who has that clothing item also has the NFT. And when they sell the NFT, because the NFTs are based on code, right, you can program them to do whatever you want. And what we usually do is we program them to pay us, the creator, right, the original, let's say, clothing designer, every single time that item is resold. And because that item is scarce, right, there's only 1,000, that NFT is going to be very important to be transferred with that item. And there are going to be other people who want to buy that item, right? Let's say Versace only made 1,000 pairs of Versaces, and all of those Versaces had an NFT that was tied to it. So that NFT shows and proves ownership, and that's what's really important. When I was growing up, we had like the Gucci belt craze. They're bringing it back, right? They've been bringing it back.
Right.
Gucci belt craze, the Louis belt crazes, etc. And the first thing that we want to ask is it real? But imagine that you took a picture of the belt when you bought it, or let's say Gucci took a picture of the belt, I should say.
Right.
And that picture was put onto the blockchain as an NFT. And when you purchase the belt with your receipt, you got a little QR code that you could scan and get access to the NFT. So when someone asks you, hey, is that belt real? You open your phone up. There's the NFT. Yeah, it's real. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
And that's where we're going.
Makes a ton of sense.
Yes, tell us. Yeah, that's where we're going. So yeah, let's do it.
Good stuff, real stuff, good stuff. So let's dig a little deeper into educating these people, man, educating these folks on, like myself, I had no idea about any of this stuff, but more interested because I like a leg up on those other folks, to be honest with you. I'm just going to say it.
Say that again. Please say that again.
I like a leg up on these other folks.
Absolutely.
You know? So what drove you to actually get to that passion to actually want to do this and educate others and, to try and get a leg up and to stay in the game?
Like I said, I'm a nerd, and being a nerd, I am not just, tech. I am a student of history. I actually love history. Before I was even into tech, I was always into history. And so I am a student of what has happened and how it repeats itself. People say history always repeats itself, but it doesn't have to, right?
Exactly.
And if we want that history to repeat itself, it's going to be us being left behind every single time and being subject to whatever the people who were earlier than us, dictates of us now, because they were earlier and they have all that power. And so I seen that we were creating everything. It was being taken, and we weren't even getting recognized. We definitely weren't getting scraps even, but we weren't even getting recognized for it.
Right.
And so with everything in tech, all of these trends, all of these different brands, all of these different social media, platforms, etc., they are basically ran by our energy, by our buy-in, by our trends, by our culture, by our.
And what's so funny? I'm glad you brought that up. With the whole craze of these reels and all this other stuff, right? You see predominantly Black people doing this, right? But who's really getting the real money from behind those reels?
And those platforms.
That's what I'm more interested in. I'm not interested in the girl shaking her ass. I'm interested in who's making the money behind that.
Those platforms, I want to say, are publishing companies. If you understand publishing, and peace to Ramiel Elbey. He is my business manager, and he's a corporate astrologer. But he is always looking at the background of things.
Exactly.
And he stated, if you compare a publishing company and you look at these user agreements for these social media.
Exactly. I'm very familiar with publishing. I've been on my own publishing company since the age of 17. So I went into game songwriting at 17.
Wow. And as you know, Ramiel was in the industry as well. So he
absolutely
looks at contracts, and he looks at my contracts. So peace to him, right? So he said, hey, these are publishing companies. So when you're creating, and I remember him saying, you have to be more involved in social media, and us getting into it, like, why, if they're publishing companies? But he explained that when you have nothing else, right? When you're using these platforms just to try and get rich and try and be the next social influencer, and you're not bringing them to anything that's decentralized that you actually own, what you're doing is you're putting yourself, unbeknownst to you, you're putting yourself in a 360 deal, where you're constantly creating content. You got to keep creating content. You got to go viral. You have to have the next viral influence in order to stay on top. That's a 360 deal. It's no different than constantly having to produce. And so what we realized was we can start those followings. There's nothing wrong with using traditional social media, right? But what is your end goal? Do you want to continue to be a producer, basically, for TikTok and IG?
Exactly.
Or because when those companies come to, when those companies come to YouTube, TikTok, IG, etc., they're offering YouTube and TikTok whatever price for your video to advertise on your video.
Thank you. Froze a little bit there. You'll come back in a second. Coach, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at my virtual land checking out my rent.
That's what I'm talking about. Get to the money. So he froze. Brother only could be back with us in a minute. I think he froze. I think he's having internet problems on that end. So what's your thoughts on this entire topic of the Web 3D?
You know me. I've been doing this stuff for years, man.
I know.
Like I got my crypto wallet way back when people were like, "Why would you do that?" I'm like, "Why? You just write the number down somewhere. You don't remember." I own my subdivision virtually.
Exactly. That's where it's going.
It's people. You have to be open-minded and think outside the box. And
Absolutely.
The more outside the box you think, the more you're able to create streams of income.
Exactly. And that's my concern with some of these folks who are not moving in that direction. Like I'm really not up on the fad thing. You know what I'm saying? Like the fad. I literally when I started seeing these reels, I'm like, okay, if they're asking me to promote the to do more reels for my workout videos, somebody's getting paid off of this.
Yeah.
I don't want, you know what I'm saying, to say, oh, make $500 in a month. I'm like, okay, so if you pay me $500 to reach a certain goal, a mark, a month, all it is, they're looking for advertisers. They're looking for advertising dollars. So if you give me $500 a month per video, what you making? That's what my mindset has always been. I'm not interested in the $500 a month. Nah, I don't. I'm looking past that.
Well, a lot of people don't realize when something's free, you're the commodity that's for sale.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So I don't, I like with Facebook, they 500 by this month. Okay, yeah, cool, I got it, but let's get to the real money because I know what they're doing already. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff is based on advertising dollars. The people are there. That's all they're doing is buying and selling people. Hold on one second. Go bring brother in here. There you go. Good, brother. What's up?
Oh, man, I have no idea what happened.
Oh, no, you're good.
All right. So, I forget what I was saying, man. I was just dealing with that, doing some damage control. What was that? Ownership.
Yeah, ownership.
You don't own your content on these platforms. And so with decentralized platforms, when an advertiser wants to advertise on your video, they have to come to you because you own your video, you own your content.
I'm laughing at it because I was just talking to Dee about the advertising dollars. It's a new game, but it's the old game. It's really the old game.
It is.
That's all it is. That's like I was explaining to Dee. I was telling Facebook sends all these messages. I'm in recovery and all this other good stuff, and I make real motivational videos of working out through medical fitness. So Facebook, they send hey, $500 for the month if you reach X amount of. But I'm not interested in that 500. I want to know what you getting.
What are you getting?
That's what I'm interested in. What are you getting?
And
the 500, yeah, that's cool. Transfer it in a month, yeah, that's cool. But let's get to the real moolah.
Exactly. And the power that we have as we talk a lot about generational wealth. We talk a lot about anti-censorship. And when we say something, they block us. But when other people say something, they don't block them. Well, that's because you don't own it. You don't own it. And quite frankly, I'm going to take care of mine before I take care of yours. So I don't know why you're still expecting, me to treat you the same way as I treat mine. Like that's preposterous, especially when we have the ability to create our own for cents on the dollar. Our children playing these games, right? These video games. You can get paid in blockchain to play the game just for playing the game. As you're playing the game, there's a game called Undead Blocks, right? UNDEAD blocks.com, right? They pay you to kill zombies. It's a Call of Duty style game. They have a partnership with GameStop and they pay you to kill zombies. There are so many alternatives for us to create our own, make our own money, completely remove ourselves from the structure. But we're too busy pointing the finger.
Here's the thing. And a ton of folks thought I was crazy when I said I was going to do this, right? Mm-hmm. I've been podcasting before they even called it podcast. I've been broadcasting for years on top of years. So when I became paralyzed and I had to switch it up a little bit. So everything had then changed over. So everything now is streaming, right? Video.
Yep.
All the good stuff. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to stream on Facebook no more. I don't want to do that.
Right.
So I built another platform. I had a platform before. Rob was on that platform as well years ago. We reached over 100,000 people. Yes. I'm going to do the same thing again.
Yes.
I'm going to do the same thing again.
With blockchain, you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game.
There it is. But folks would think, oh man, why are you doing that? Why are you getting away from that? Because I don't want to be censored. I don't want no one telling me anything. I own it. So what are they going to do? What are they going to tell me not to stream? Come on.
Well, the thing about being a trailblazer is that you're comfortable being uncomfortable. And
absolutely.
When you're not a trailblazer, you're comfortable being comfortable, right? And so I've learned that build it and they will come. And that's what you just have proven. And Rob, once again, big ups to him, because he explained to me when we first started working together and I started teaching him Web3, and he knows it like stuff that he knows.
Exactly.
I'm like, how do you know that? But when we first started talking, he said the same thing that the sister who just got off said. He said, oh, we've done this before. He said, Prince, Janet Jackson, they had fan clubs when, they got their publishing, when they realized their publishing was being stolen, they started fan clubs. And this is the same thing with these NFTs. If you hold the NFT and you get into the community, right? It's just a fan club. And, now we can prove ownership. Back then, it was just, you maybe got a little ownership card or whatever, or something in the mail, a newsletter. But now we can actually digitally prove and validate ownership. That is powerful for artists. And that is why they're coming out and trying to scare everybody away from cryptocurrency, because this is going to empower a lot of people to not need these centralized authorities, so-called authorities.
Exactly. Good stuff. Do you have a question for the good brother?
What, because I do a lot of volunteer teaching coding. What do you think is the hardest group to get on board?
With coding, or are you saying?
Well, just with technology in general, because I know, like, talking to the aunties and the grandmas and everything, they don't see the power behind anything technologically. Like my son's been coding since he was 2, so for him, technology is second. We have a smart house. Everything's technology. What about people who see it as Big Brother listening? How do you get those people on board?
Well, the first thing that I would like to say is I don't like to look at things as, and maybe the way that I learn, I don't like to look at things as problems, you know what I mean? Or, or what's the biggest problem that I'm going to face? I strive to look at what's the biggest motivation that people have, right? And how do you tap into that motivation? And I think that's where I've seen a lot of my success, is because I don't focus on like what's wrong with the situation. I'm not saying that you are, but I'm saying that, when we go into something looking for the problem, it reveals itself, and then it exacerbates itself, because that's what we're looking for. And so I think that in those older groups, they need a motivation to overcome that fear that Big Brother is listening. And let's be frank, guys, we know that that's valid for them to feel that way. And so I always try and acknowledge that first, like, yo, it's valid, but listen, if you don't rely on yourself completely and solely, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're going to be having to use blockchain technology. And so honestly, scaring them, you got to scare them, because it's going to be even scarier when the day comes, just like it did with Zoom and just like it did with the internet, right? And nobody was prepared, and people were closing their businesses.
It's definitely coming. That's why I thought this was a great idea to bring this to the platform and to speak to these folks, because it's coming. It's definitely coming. There's no people invested in this already. Some other people already invested.
It's not coming.
It's already
it's not coming. It's not coming. It's not just people. It's already here. It's already here. Like, there is an article from the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve called "Money and Payments: the Digital Dollar in the Age of Digital Transformation." They dropped it January of this year. Nobody knows about it, and in it, they go in depth as to how they're going to transfer to the digital dollar. Nobody paid attention to it, and now everyone is so in awe that the United States is saying, "Hey, we're going to a digital dollar, guys," and they're making it seem like they just started talking about it. FedCoin has been around since, I believe, I heard of FedCoin, I believe, first in 2017 or 18. FedCoin, the Federal Reserve, has a digital, it has a coin, it has a digital currency, a cryptocurrency. Like, you have no choice at this point.
Here's the thing, and it was so funny about that when you say it's already here. I really truly believe that. And when they first announced Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill, that was some bullshit. It's not gonna be worth anything. That's a done deal. That's a done deal. Total done deal. So when you seen that, Dee, think about it. When you saw that they were releasing the Harriet Tubman $20 bill, whatever it was. Did you really think that was gonna stand?
I never carry cash, so.
Thank you.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, he's back. Just brought him back.
Yeah, like I have a debit card attached to my crypto wallet, so I
was talking to my brother. This a couple of weeks ago, and he asked me for like change for 100 or change for something. I was like, man, I haven't touched money in about 5 years. I literally haven't touched like cash money in like 5 years. Literally haven't done that. But it's like, you're right. You guys are right. It's actually already here.
Definitely. So they're planning on, transferring everything. Well, not planning on. They've begun transferring everything over. If you look into a company called Hedera, Hedera is the blockchain for the government and these major corporations, JP Morgan, I believe, Bank of America, these huge corporations that are already into blockchain and have been for a few years. And they talk about how, they're going to take these different industries and encrypt them onto the blockchain. And so you're going to essentially have to use their cryptocurrencies in order to interact with those industries. I mean, with those companies, I should say, within those industries. And this is something that we're not prepared for. So there's a lot coming that we need to prepare for, essentially.
Right. I don't think you heard what I said when I brought up the Harriet Tubman thing. So that's why I really took that Harriet Tubman thing as a joke when they said they were going to release that $20 bill. Was it a 20 or 100?
That was disrespectful.
It was a 20. It was very disrespectful. It was very disrespectful.
It was disrespectful. Like what? Like you guys know, we don't even use dollars anymore. Like and there were people who were celebrating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. It was very weird. I agree.
Very weird.
I see the comments. Can I address the comments?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So let me move this out of the way here. So DJ name Slash.
Slash.
He said Isaac Hayes III has created a new social media space, which is why people are selling subscriptions based upon his blueprint, where you can earn revenue unlike any other platform. It's called Fanbase. Yes, I'm on Fanbase. I'm the KryptoKhemist on Fanbase. That is a very robust and quickly growing site. I'm very proud of Isaac Hayes III for that, and he was ahead of his time. He understood, the influence that we have. Definitely, I would say go and support Fanbase because they are doing some very revolutionary things over there. Ross Speaks says, please have Link explain how shows like this one will advance in the metaverses. Right. So you all will be watching these shows in the metaverse in the next 3 to 5 years. There's going to be, if you've ever been on the Oculus, there's like a metaverse stage. When you put on the Oculus, it's a stage with the big screen, and you just watch. You sit back and you watch the show. And so that's how these shows are going to be streamed soon. And there will also be opportunities to be interviewed in the metaverse, where your avatar is interviewed. I mean, if you look at the different patents and the different research behind this stuff, they are already very, very deeply ingrained in this, and it's going to be a huge change that happens.
Good stuff. D, you got anything else?
No, like for me, this is all like stuff that I normally talk about and think about because I do it, right? So I've like I play around on Decentraland and Atlas Earth. I have plots of land that make me money.
Nice.
And NFTs.
Nice. Let's get it.
Like this is stuff that I do that I tell other people to do, and they're like, yeah, we'll get to it. I'm like, all right, well, you're getting to it. I now own the subdivision. I'm working on the mall. You know what I mean?
And so those same people, like, great point. Those same people in 10 years will be saying that they never got an opportunity, that nobody gave them a chance, that that somebody's foot is on their neck, and it's a cycle, right? It happened with the internet boom. It happened before. Everyone is so skeptical, but you can't be skeptical and broke, right? You shouldn't be skeptical. You should be the most optimistic person that there is if there's some money out there to get. And even these small coins, these small tokens, etc. Just focusing on those and looking at those, you can get 1,000 coins sometimes for like $50. you know, and or even less than that, because the coins are so, you know, they cost so little.
Exactly.
But
I tell you what. I'm gonna have to invite you back because we're actually on the 8 o'clock hour here Central Time. We normally
oh
close
man,
out around that
all of
time.
the issues,
But
man.
here's what. No, we're good. Here's what we'll do. We'll bring you back and we'll actually start off with the Bitcoin and the central coins and the blockchain and really focus on the wealth and actually getting to the wealth. We'll definitely focus on that. So I'll schedule that in. I'll schedule that. We'll talk about the time and whatnot, but we definitely need to expand this and go forward with the topic going into how to build wealth, how to actually network with other folks and get things going, because that's what we really need. We really need that leg up.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just please follow me on the social media channels at the KryptoKhemist, or on TikTok at Web3 TV. That is Web3. The number 3 is in the word 3.tv on TikTok.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Would you be willing to come on and do like a tutorial of how to set up a crypto wallet for folks?
Absolutely, I'd love that. That would be cool. That's my bag.
As I'm talking, hey, it's all good. We'll set it up and we'll definitely put it together. Definitely put it together. And
please.
Your voice needs a microphone, brother. Your voice needs a microphone. You got a microphone here, so it's all good.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
So we're gonna say good night, and we're gonna bring the brother Link back for part 2, and we'll get to the money.
It was great hearing from you. Looking forward to seeing you.
Great hearing from you all. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
No doubt, brother. No doubt. We'll talk soon.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah, that was pretty good, D. Pretty good. So good stuff, folks. We'll be back. Actually, gonna finish off a topic for Wednesday and get back to, I think it was Pimps in the Pulpit, a religious topic we're gonna do. Then the following week we'll bring Brother Link back to finish that off. Good stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the other side of Wednesday, and we'll talk to you soon. Be epic.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.